The truth did not come out during an argument. It came out when the family finally stopped defending the past. Your person's sister had spent so much time making sure you stayed outside that family circle that everyone assumed she simply disliked you. But what she finally admitted was far more complicated, far more personal, and much more painful than anyone expected. She was not only trying to keep you away from the family. She was trying to protect a secret that could have changed the way your person saw everyone they trusted. And when she finally said your name in that room, your person realized that the distance between you was never created by a lack of love. Listen carefully. Because the most devastating part of this confession was not what she did. It was why she believed she had to do it. For years, your person's sister watched the bond between you grow stronger. She saw how differently your person acted when you were around. They were calmer, more hopeful, more willing to make decisions for themselves. And that frightened her, because she knew that if your relationship became serious, certain family expectations would begin to lose their power. Decisions about where your person lived, who they listened to, how they spent their time, and what future they were expected to choose could suddenly change. You were not simply entering a relationship. Without realizing it, you were changing a family system that had been controlling your person for years. At first, her interference was subtle. She questioned your intentions when you were not in the room. She suggested that your person was moving too quickly. She reminded them of every difference between you, every difficult moment, every misunderstanding that could be exaggerated into a warning. Whenever your person defended you, she would become quiet and say she was only trying to protect the family. But now she has admitted that protection was never the full truth. She knew your person loved you deeply, and that was exactly what made your presence so powerful. What your person never knew was that their sister had once overheard a private family conversation about you. Several relatives were discussing what might happen if your person chose you permanently. One person worried that your person would stop following the family's plans. Another feared that old decisions would finally be questioned. Someone else said something that stayed in the sister's mind for years: if they choose that relationship, we may lose control of everything. That sentence changed her behavior toward you completely. Instead of warning your person about what had been said, she made a different choice. She decided to become the barrier herself. She convinced herself that keeping you away would prevent conflict, preserve the family, and stop painful truths from surfacing. But every time your person asked why you were never fully welcomed, she gave another explanation. Timing, compatibility, family concerns, trust. Anything except the real reason. Don't skip. Because what happened next forced her to finally confront what those choices had done. Your person began asking questions about the past after noticing contradictions in old family stories. Dates did not match. Conversations were remembered differently. Certain relatives became uncomfortable whenever your name came up. And one evening, your person directly asked their sister a question she had avoided for far too long: did you actually believe they were wrong for me? Or were you trying to stop something else? The room went silent. She tried to change the subject, but your person did not let her. For the first time, they were not asking for permission or reassurance. They wanted the truth. They told her they had spent too many years wondering whether they had lost someone important because of their own mistakes. They wanted to know whether the family had influenced a decision that should have belonged to them. That was when their sister's expression changed. She admitted she had been afraid of you, but not because she thought you were dangerous. She was afraid of what your presence revealed. Around you, your person started seeing how much of their life had been shaped by obligation instead of choice. Around you, they started saying no. They started questioning traditions. They started imagining a future that had not been designed by someone else. And the sister feared that once your person understood how deeply they had been controlled, the entire family would be forced to answer for it. But the confession became even more emotional when she admitted something else. There had been one specific moment when she could have helped bring you and your person back together. She had received information that proved one of the biggest misunderstandings between you was not what everyone believed. She could have told your person immediately. She could have stopped years of silence. Instead, she kept it hidden because she believed reconnecting you would reopen everything the family had worked so hard to bury. Your person stared at her and asked one question: what information? For several seconds, she could not answer. Then she walked toward an old cabinet, opened a drawer that had not been touched in years, and removed something your person had never seen before. The moment it was placed on the table, another family member stood up and said, "You were never supposed to show them that." And that was the moment your person realized the sister's confession was only the beginning, because whatever had been hidden inside the drawer was connected directly to you. Your person could barely move as the object from that drawer was placed on the table. It was not something dramatic on the surface. No photograph covered in tears. No expensive gift. No mysterious piece of jewelry. It was a sealed envelope with your person's name written across the front in handwriting they recognized immediately. Your handwriting. The same handwriting they had once seen on birthday cards, small notes, and messages from a time when loving you still felt simple. Their face changed the second they saw it. They looked at their sister and asked, "How long have you had this?" She did not answer quickly, and that silence told your person everything they needed to know. The envelope had never reached them. You had sent it during one of the most painful periods of your separation, when both of you were being told different versions of the same story. Your person had been made to believe you had walked away without fighting for the relationship. You had been made to believe your person had chosen their family over you without hesitation. But now there was physical proof that at least one side of that story had been manipulated. Their sister admitted she had taken the envelope before your person ever saw it. She told herself she would keep it only for a few days, until emotions settled down. A few days became weeks. Weeks became months. Then too much time had passed, and giving it back would have meant admitting what she had done. Your person's hands began trembling as they reached for it. Their sister immediately said, "Before you open that, you need to understand something. But your person looked at her with an expression she had never seen before. There was no anger yet. There was something worse. Disappointment. The kind that comes when someone realizes the people they trusted most may have helped create the very heartbreak they spent years trying to survive. She finally confessed that she had opened the envelope first. She had read every word. And what she read terrified her because the letter was not angry, desperate, or manipulative. It was calm. It was honest. You had written that you did not want your person to choose between you and their family. You had written that you were willing to step back if that was what they truly wanted, but you needed to know the decision came from them and not from pressure. You had even written that if your person still loved you, you were willing to have one final conversation and clear every misunderstanding face to face. That conversation never happened. Instead, your person was told that you had already moved on. Their sister admitted she supported that story because she believed it would help your person detach from you faster. She convinced herself that heartbreak now would be better than family conflict later. But what she never expected was that your person would carry your absence for years. She watched them enter new relationships without giving their whole heart. She watched them smile at family gatherings and become quiet when certain songs played. She watched them avoid places that reminded them of you. And every single time, she knew there was a letter hidden inside that house proving you had not abandoned them the way they believed. Then your person opened it. They did not read the entire letter aloud. They did not need to. One sentence was enough to break the room apart. Their eyes stopped on a line near the middle, and suddenly they had to sit down. Their sister asked what it said, but your person shook their head. Another family member stepped closer, and your person finally whispered, "They were waiting for me." Those 4 words changed everything. Because suddenly the past looked different. Every night your person had blamed themselves for not being enough. Every moment they believed you had forgotten them. Every decision they made because they thought the door between you had permanently closed. All of it had been built around a lie of omission. You had been waiting. You had given them a chance to speak. And someone they trusted had made sure they never knew. Their sister started crying and said she never intended for the separation to last this long. She thought you would both eventually move on and build separate lives. But your person looked at her and asked, "Did you ever tell them I never received this?" She lowered her eyes. That answer hurt even more. Because while your person believed you had stopped caring, you may have spent years believing they had received your final truth and chosen not to respond. The family atmosphere changed instantly. People who had previously defended the sister began asking questions. Who else knew about the letter? Who helped keep it hidden? Was this the only message that had been intercepted? And why had so many relatives been comfortable allowing your person to believe a false story for so long? That was when the sister admitted the envelope was not the only thing. There had also been a phone call. Your person looked up sharply. She explained that months after the letter, you had called the family home trying to reach them directly. She answered. You asked only one question: do they really want me gone, or are they being told something different? Your person froze. Because no one had ever told them about that call. Their sister confessed that she had said something to you that night she had regretted ever since. She told you that your person had made their choice. She told you not to contact them again. And then she told you something even worse, something your person had never said. She told you they were happier without you. Your person stood up so quickly that the chair moved backward across the floor. You told them what? The sister broke down completely. She said she believed she was ending a painful chapter before it destroyed the family. She believed she knew what was best. But now she understood that she had not protected anyone. She had stolen a decision from both of you. Then your person asked the question everyone in that room knew was coming. Where are they now? Their sister wiped her face and looked directly at them. I know. And the second she said those two words, your person realized this confession was not only about correcting the past, because their sister had information about you right now that she had still not revealed. Your person stared at their sister as if the entire room had disappeared around them. The question was no longer what had happened years ago. The question was why she still knew anything about you now. She had already admitted to hiding the letter, blocking the phone call, and helping create the silence that separated two people who had never been given the chance to make their own decision. But knowing where you were meant one thing your person had not prepared for. She had never completely stopped watching what happened to your life after the separation. At first, she refused to explain how she knew. She said she had only heard things through other people, that it was nothing intentional, nothing planned. Your person did not believe her. Not anymore. Too many explanations had already been used to cover too many choices. So they asked again, this time more quietly, have you been keeping track of them? The sister looked down, and that tiny movement answered before her words ever could. She admitted that several years after everything fell apart, guilt began following her everywhere. Every time your name was mentioned unexpectedly, every time your person became distant during family celebrations, every time someone asked why that relationship had ended so suddenly, she remembered the unopened truth she had helped bury. Eventually, she started asking mutual acquaintances about you. At first, she only wanted to know whether you were okay. Then she wanted to know whether you had moved on. Then she wanted to know if you ever spoke about your person. What she learned made her guilt even heavier. You had never gone around attacking the family. You had never tried to destroy anyone's reputation. You had never exposed what happened publicly. Instead, you quietly rebuilt your life while carrying unanswered questions of your own. People told her that whenever your person's name came up, you never sounded hateful. You sounded hurt. There was a difference, and she understood that difference immediately. Your person asked, did they ever say anything about me? The sister hesitated. Then she revealed that someone close to you had once told her something she could never forget. They said you had eventually stopped waiting for an explanation, but you never fully believed your person had rejected you willingly. Somewhere inside you, there had always been a feeling that something did not make sense. The ending had been too sudden, too clean, too unlike the connection you had shared. That hit your person harder than anything else. Because they had felt the same thing. For years, they had told themselves to accept what happened, but deep inside, a part of them had always questioned how two people who cared so deeply could suddenly become strangers without one final honest conversation. Now they finally knew why. That conversation had been prevented deliberately. Their sister then admitted there was another reason she knew where you were. A few months earlier, she had seen you. Not online. Not through a photograph. In person. The room fell silent again. She explained that she had been attending an event in another part of the city when she recognized you across the room. For several minutes, she did nothing. She simply watched. You looked different, but not unrecognizable. There was a calmness about you she had never seen before. She said she almost walked away because shame made it difficult to face you, but then something unexpected happened. You saw her. Your person's breathing changed. What did they do? The sister swallowed hard and said, "They came to me." She expected anger. She expected accusation. She expected you to demand answers for everything that had happened. But instead, you looked at her and asked only one thing. "How are they?" Your person turned away for a moment because those words were too much. After everything you had been made to believe, after all the silence, after all the years, your first question had still been about them. The sister admitted she could barely answer. She told you your person was doing fine, but you looked at her as if you knew that was not the full truth. Then you said something that stayed with her ever since. "I hope they eventually found peace, even if it was never meant to be with me." That sentence destroyed the last excuse she had been using to defend herself. She realized you had spent years respecting a decision your person had never actually made. Your person asked if she had told you the truth during that meeting. She began crying again. No. The disappointment returned immediately. She admitted she had almost confessed everything, but fear stopped her. She worried that reopening the past would destroy the family completely. She worried your person might never forgive her. She worried you might contact them and expose what had really happened. So once again, she remained silent. But before you walked away, you gave her something. A small folded piece of paper. You told her, "If there ever comes a day when they ask about me honestly, give them this. But only if they ask." Your person's eyes widened. The sister slowly reached into her bag. She had been carrying that note for months. This time, nobody tried to stop her. She placed it in your person's hand and stepped back. Your person stared at the folded paper for several seconds before opening it. There were only a few lines written inside, but the moment they read the first one, their entire expression changed. You had written that you were no longer asking anyone to repair the past. You were no longer waiting for someone to explain what happened. But if your person ever learned the truth and still carried one unanswered question in their heart, you were willing to hear it. No promises. No pressure. Just one honest conversation. Your person read the note twice. Then a third time. The family waited for them to say something, but they remained completely silent. Finally, they looked at their sister and asked, "Do you have a way to contact them?" She nodded. Your person closed their eyes for a moment, holding the note tightly in their hand. Years of anger, regret, love, confusion, and unanswered questions were suddenly standing at the same door. Then they opened their eyes and said, "Give me the number." But before the sister could unlock her phone, another family member suddenly interrupted. "Before you call them, there is one more thing you need to know." And the fear on that person's face made it clear the family had not revealed the biggest secret yet.